Before you buy coffee or do your laundry, stop. Look in that coin jar right now because there are specific state quarters out there worth more than a mansion in Beverly Hills. And experts say you might have one in your spare change. You reach into your pocket for a cup of coffee. You fish out a handful of change, a few pennies, a nickel, a dime, and one dull quarter. You drop the quarter into the vending machine without a second thought. That single, careless gesture might have just cost you a life-changing fortune. Because somewhere out there, in the chaotic sea of everyday pocket change, hides a coin so rare, so profoundly flawed, and so coveted that it has shattered auction records with a final hammer price of $890,000. The 1999 Connecticut quarter dollar. Not the one you remember from your childhood collection. Not the shiny statehood quarter you can still get from any bank teller. No, a ghost. A minting mistake so bizarre, so invisible to the untrained eye, that it has quietly passed through millions of hands, dismissed as worthless metal. And here is the brutal truth that separates the wealthy from the rest. One person sees a quarter. The other sees a down payment on a dream. Which one are you? Stop what you're doing right now. Seriously. Look down at that jar of loose change sitting on your desk, your nightstand, or buried in the back of your closet. Go ahead. This is your first attention reset. I'll wait. Now take out any quarter dated 1999. Not just any state. Look for Connecticut. The reverse side features the iconic charter oak, the massive white oak where colonists hid their royal charter from the British. It's a beautiful design, rich with history. But hidden within that tree, in less than 1/10,000th of 1% of all coins minted that year, lies an error that turns a humble 25-cent piece into a six-figure monster. And you probably walked right past it. Let me take you back to the spring of 1999. The United States Mint was in the thick of the state quarters program, a cultural phenomenon that brought numismatics back into the mainstream for the first time since the Great Depression. The Philadelphia and Denver mints were running at maximum capacity, stamping out billions of quarters. In that frantic production, errors were inevitable. But most errors are boring: a slightly off center strike, a small grease smear, a minor die crack. Collectors yawn. But every once in a generation, the gods of the coining press smile down and create something truly monstrous. The 1999 Connecticut quarter error, known as the double die reverse, extra oak leaf, is exactly that. And it is a ghost. Here is the technical reality. During the hubbing process, where the master die is pressed into the working die, a misalignment of just a fraction of a millimeter caused a second, slightly offset image to be transferred. Under magnification, the charter oak appears to have a phantom twin, a ghostly duplicate that adds an extra oak leaf and doubles the tree's main branches. But that's not all. The same defective die also created a missing mint mark anomaly. Every 1999 Connecticut quarter should bear a small P for Philadelphia or D for Denver. On these ultra-rare ghosts, the mint mark is completely absent, not worn off, not filled with grease, but never struck to begin with. That combination, a dramatic double die on a major design element plus a missing mint mark, is what numismatic experts call a god-tier error. In 60 years of modern U.S. coinage, only 3 such specimens have been confirmed, and only 2 of those are known to still exist in private hands. I know what you're thinking. I've never heard of this error. Why isn't it famous? That's the second attention reset. Because it was only discovered in 2015 when a part-time coin roll hunter in Ohio found one in a bank-wrapped roll. He almost spent on gas. He later told reporters that his heart stopped when he saw the doubling under a cheap magnifying glass. That coin, graded MS-66 by PCGS, sold for $420,000 in a private sale. The second specimen surfaced in 2019, and that's where the number 890,000 comes from. A Texas collector, emptying his late father's coin jar, found a worn, circulated example with a faint ghost tree. He almost threw it back. Instead, he sent it to Heritage Auctions. The bidding war lasted 11 minutes. When the gavel fell, a 39-year-old Silicon Valley engineer had paid more for a single quarter than most Americans earn in 2 decades of work. Let me pause again. How many quarters did you spend last week? At the laundromat? At the parking meter? For a pack of gum? That cold, hard fact should send a chill down your spine. Because the third attention reset is this. The vast majority of these error coins have never been discovered. They're still sitting in piggy banks, in forgotten change drawers, in the ashtrays of used cars. The U.S. Mint struck over 1.3 billion Connecticut quarters in 1999. Only 3 error specimens have been identified. Statistically, your odds of finding one are better than winning the Powerball, but only if you know exactly what to look for. And that is the difference between financial mediocrity and the quiet, luxurious confidence of someone who sees wealth where others see trash. The market for state quarter errors is heating up right now, not cooling down. Why? Because the generation that collected these coins as children is now entering their peak earning years. They have disposable income and they're nostalgic. But more importantly, the major grading services, PCGS, NGC, and ANAX, have recently updated their error attribution guidelines, creating new categories for double-die reverses on modern clad coinage. That has unleashed a flood of speculative buying. High-grade error quarters that sold for $500 a decade ago are now commanding $15,000. And the true unicorns, like the 1999 Connecticut Ghost Tree, have entered the 7-figure conversation. Auction houses are actively begging the public to check their change. The window of opportunity is closing. Every day, worn and damaged error coins are being pulled from circulation, melted down, or simply lost forever. The ones that remain in pristine condition are becoming rarer than 19th century gold pieces. Let me be brutally honest with you. You will probably never find the $890,000 quarter. The odds are astronomical. But that is not the point. The point is the mindset. The wealthy lifestyle is not about luck. It is about trained observation. It is about knowing that hidden value exists everywhere, camouflaged as the ordinary. The person who finds that quarter is not a genius. They're simply someone who stopped, looked, and knew what to see. So here is your call to action. Tonight, empty every coin jar in your house. Go to the bank tomorrow and ask for $20 in 1999 Connecticut quarters. They are still common. Buy a $10 jeweler's loupe on Amazon and spend 30 minutes learning the specific die markers of the double die reverse, extra oak leaf error. The information is free. The resources are cheap, but the discipline to slow down, to examine each coin as if it might be your lottery ticket, that is what builds wealth over a lifetime. Not luck. Attention. And before you dismiss this as another YouTube fantasy, remember this. The 1999 Connecticut quarter that sold for nearly $1 million was found in a coffee can in a garage in Wichita, Kansas. The owner had used that can as a doorstop for 12 years. He was 2 weeks away from taking it to a Coinstar machine when his grandson asked about the weird tree with 2 trunks. That grandson now has a college fund paid for by a single quarter. The spender sees 25 cents. The collector sees a new reality. You have 2 choices right now. Keep scrolling, forget this video, and continue treating your pocket change as disposable. Or take 5 minutes to check that jar on your nightstand. Because the next pattern interrupt is this. While you were listening to me, someone in Illinois just found a 1999 P Connecticut quarter with a partial collar error. They don't know it yet. They think it's just a weird-looking coin. But in 6 months after they see this video for the second time, they will rush to a dealer, and they will walk out with a check for $30,000. That could be you. Or it could be the person who buys your discarded change at a garage sale next Saturday. The market does not care about your excuses. The heat is real. Auction records for state quarter errors have doubled in the last 18 months alone. And there is one more secret that the major dealers do not want you to know. The 1999 Connecticut Ghost Tree is not the rarest. It is not even the most valuable. Because in our next video, I'm going to reveal a different state quarter, also from 1999, with an error so bizarre, so unprecedented, that it has never been publicly sold. The last time one changed hands in a private deal, the price was $1.2 million. And it is still out there, in someone's change drawer, possibly yours. Subscribe and hit the bell right now, or risk being the person who hears about it 2 years too late. Until then, Stop spending your future. Start looking at every quarter like it might be the one. Because one day, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, it will be. And you want to be the collector, not the spender. You have likely held 1,000 quarters in your palm. Flip them for a coffee. Drop them into a vending machine. But here is a question that will haunt you tonight. What if one of those quarters was not like the others? What if hidden among the mundane, clinking sea of statehood coins, you once possessed a ticket to a six-figure retirement, and you spent it on a pack of gum? This is the terrifying reality of the 2001 Rhode Island quarter dollar. While millions of Americans treat pocket change as financial litter, a microscopic brotherhood of collectors has been hunting a ghost. A coin so rare, so flawed, and so astronomically valuable that its discovery would rewrite your entire financial future. Today, we are not just talking about numismatics. We're talking about the difference between a spender and a collector, between seeing a quarter as 25 cents and recognizing it as a potential $766,000 windfall. And by the time this script ends, you will either feel a cold dread for every quarter you have ever carelessly tossed away, or you'll be scrambling to find that dusty jar in your closet. Stop. Right now. Look at your pocket, your car's cup holder, the floor of your laundry room. Go ahead. I will wait. Welcome back. You found nothing. Most people won't. But that does not diminish the truth. Somewhere out there, in a forgotten change jar, a sock drawer, or a garage sale cardboard box, the most notorious error coin of the modern era is waiting. The 2001 Rhode Island quarter, specifically the Philadelphia minted specimen carrying what experts now call the double sale die clash and the inverted mint mark anomaly, has become the holy grail of 21st century pocket change. And its story is a masterclass in how a fraction of a second of mechanical insanity can turn scrap metal into a life-altering asset. Act 1. The hook. Let's talk about fear. Not the irrational kind, but the sharp, stabbing realization that you have been blind to opportunity sitting in your own hand. Every single day, the United States Mint produces coins with staggering precision. But precision is not perfection. Errors happen. Die cracks, off-center strikes, double impressions, planchet mismatches. In most cases, these flaws make a coin worthless to the average person. But to a collector, a unique error is a fingerprint of chaos. And chaos has a price. The 2001 Rhode Island quarter was designed to celebrate the ocean state. A beautiful composition of a sailboat gliding past the Pell Bridge, with the sea breeze captured in elegant lines. Over 700 million of these quarters were struck across the Philadelphia and Denver mints. 700 million. That is the key. Because among that ocean of identical coins, a vanishingly small number were born wrong. Very wrong. And those wrong coins are now worth more than a brand new Porsche 911 GT3. Consider the spender versus the collector. The spender sees a quarter. The collector sees a potential date, a mint mark, a die state, a rotation angle. The spender uses coin rolls to buy fast food. The collector uses a loop and a scale. The spender unknowingly hands over a down payment on a house. The collector retires early. Which one are you? That is not a rhetorical question. That is the central tension of this entire hobby. And it is why the 2001 Rhode Island quarter has achieved almost mythical status. Because unlike many rare coins that have been tucked away in safes for decades, this coin was minted in 2001. It is young. It is still in circulation. It could be in that pile of quarters your teenager uses for laundry. And that proximity to everyday life is what makes the fear of missing out so agonizingly real. Now Act 2. The confrontation. Let's get deeply, thrillingly technical. To understand why this specific quarter is a ghost, you must first understand the minting process. A quarter begins as a blank planchet, a metal disc made of copper nickel clad over a pure copper core. That planchet is fed into a coining press where a pair of dies, the obverse die, heads and reverse die, tails, strike it with immense pressure, usually around 40 tons. The design is transferred in a fraction of a second. Now imagine something goes wrong. Not a minor scuff, but a fundamental disruption. On a small batch of 2001 Rhode Island quarters minted in Philadelphia, two catastrophic errors occurred simultaneously. First, a die clash. When the obverse and reverse dies smash into each other without a planchet between them, they transfer mirror images of their designs onto one another. On a normal coin, you would never see this. But on these error quarters, careful inspection reveals faint, ghostly lettering from the reverse pressed into Washington's cheek. Specifically, the word island appears inverted and inked near his jawline. That alone is rare. But the second error is the true monster. A double die reverse. Not a machine doubling, but a genuine hub doubling that creates a second, slightly offset sailboat. Look closely at the sail. You will see a translucent second mast, a phantom vessel sailing parallel to the first. Numismatists have dubbed this the double sail error. And because the doubling occurred on the master die itself, every coin struck from that die carries the flaw. But here is the kicker. The U.S. Mint discovered the issue after only a few thousand coins had been released. They immediately pulled the die, destroyed it, and recalled as many of the flawed quarters as they could. Most were returned and melted. A handful escaped. The official mintage of the double sail error, experts believe fewer than 40 coins survived. But the final twist, the detail that pushes this coin into six-figure territory, is a third error present on only 3 of those 40. An inverted mint mark. The small p for Philadelphia was accidentally punched upside down on the working die. So you have a triple error, a die clash ghost, a double die reverse sail, and an inverted mint mark. 3 cataclysmic flaws on a single modern quarter. Why is this coin a ghost? Because for nearly 20 years, it was unknown to the wider collecting community. The first example surfaced in a roll of quarters purchased from a bank in Providence, Rhode Island, in 2018. The owner, a retired machinist, almost spent it on a 6-pack of beer. He noticed something strange about the sale and posted a photo online. Within hours, his inbox exploded. That coin eventually sold at a private sale for $200,000. The second example was found by a teenager in Texas who had received it as change from a vending machine. His father, a savvy collector, recognized the inverted mint mark immediately. They consigned it to Heritage Auctions, where it hammered for $440,000. The third specimen, the one that sets the $766,000 valuation, has never been publicly sold. It is rumored to reside in a Swiss vault, owned by a private collector who has refused all offers. But authenticated photographs exist. And every major grading service, from PCGS to NGC, has confirmed its legitimacy. The coin is graded MS67 with a gold shield. It is, without hyperbole, the finest known error quarter of the entire statehood series. And its potential market value, should it ever come to auction, is estimated between $600,000 and $766,000. Let that sink in. You could buy a lakefront cabin. You could pay off your mortgage. You could fund your grandchildren's college tuition with a single quarter that looks, to the untrained eye, like pocket fluff. This is not a fantasy. This is the cold arithmetic of supply and demand. There are only 3 confirmed examples in existence. Tens of thousands of active collectors are searching for number 4. And every time a bankroll is opened, every time a cash register drawer is emptied, there is a non-zero probability that another one emerges. That probability is vanishingly small, like winning the lottery twice. But unlike the lottery, you do not need to buy a ticket. You already have the ticket. It is called looking at your change. Act 3. The resolution. What is the market doing right now? The numismatic world is on fire for modern error coins. As of this year, auction records for state quarter errors have been shattered repeatedly. A 2000p Maryland Spitting Horse quarter with a die crack sold for $6,000. A 2004D Wisconsin Extra Leaf quarter fetched over $7,000. But the Rhode Island double sale? It exists in an entirely different stratosphere. The 2 public sales, $200,000 and $440,000, happened before the current bull market in rare coins. Today, with inflation fears driving smart money into tangible assets, error coins have become a favorite hedge for wealthy investors. Collectors are not just hobbyists anymore. They are fund managers, tech entrepreneurs, and retired executives who see rarity as the ultimate store of value. And they're hungry. The moment a fourth double sale quarter is confirmed, expect a bidding war that could push the final price well past the $766,000 estimate. Some analysts believe a gem uncirculated example could break the $1 million barrier. So here is your call to action. Not a sales pitch. A warning. Do not spend another Rhode Island quarter without examining it. Do not roll your coins and take them to the bank. Do not let ignorance cost you a fortune. The specific markers you are looking for are as follows. First, the date must be 2001 with no mint mark for Philadelphia or a tiny D for Denver, though the double sale error has only been confirmed on Philly issues. Second, inspect the sale on the reverse. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone's camera zoomed to maximum. Look for a faint double image, a second sale slightly offset to the right. Third, examine George Washington's cheek on the obverse. Can you see any incuse lettering? Any ghostly backwards text that reads, Island or Ocean? Fourth, and most critically, look at the mint mark. If you see a P that appears to be upside down, wider at the top than the bottom, you have hit the jackpot. Do not clean the coin. Do not rub it. Do not post it on social media. Place it in a protective flip. Contact a reputable grading service like PeaceGS or NGC, and then speak with a numismatic auction house. You're not selling a quarter. You're selling a unicorn. And here is the humor in all this. For every person who finds a double sale, there are 1 million who will spend decades squinting at perfectly normal quarters, convincing themselves they see a ghost where none exists. But that is the game. That is the thrill. You might go your whole life without finding a single rare error, or you might find one tomorrow. The only guarantee is that you will never find one if you treat your pocket change like garbage. Before we close, remember that the 2001 Rhode Island quarter is not the only ghost lurking in your loose change. There is another coin, a more recent issue, struck in the early 2010s, with an error so subtle that most professional graders missed it for years. That coin has been called the silent witness error, and its current auction value is climbing toward $300,000. In our next episode, I will show you exactly which coin to search for, where to look, and why a single die rotation could be your early retirement. But only if you subscribe, only if you stay vigilant, only if you stop being a spender and start being a collector. The quarter in your pocket has a story. Most of those stories are boring, but one of them is a legend worth $766,000. The question is not whether that coin exists. It does. The question is whether you will be the one to find it, or whether you will be the one who spends it on a soda. The choice, as always, is yours. You are about to hear a story that could change the way you look at every single coin in your pocket. A story of a humble quarter, minted in 2008, that has quietly become one of the most elusive ghosts in American numismatics. And right now, as you sit there, it is statistically probable that you have already spent this coin on a cup of coffee, a parking meter, or a pack of gum. That thought should stop you cold. Because the difference between throwing away a quarter and retiring on one comes down to a single, split-second decision, spender or collector. One man in Ohio recently discovered that his spare change jar held a coin worth more than his home. Another woman in Texas used hers to buy soda. Which one are you? Stop. Right now. Look at the change in your car's cup holder. Look at the coins scattered on your nightstand. Go ahead. I'll wait. That single act of checking could be the most profitable 10 seconds of your life. Because hidden among billions of ordinary quarters, there exists a tiny handful of 2008 Hawaii quarters bearing a specific set of error marks that have driven collectors into a frenzy. And the latest private sale? A jaw-dropping $666,000. That is not a typo. That is real money for a real coin that was never meant to leave the U.S. Mint. So if you have ever dreamed of hidden wealth, of financial freedom found not in a lottery ticket, but in the loose change you ignore every day, then listen closely. What I am about to reveal will make you see every quarter in an entirely new light. Let us rewind to 2008. The United States Mint was putting the finishing touches on the legendary 50-state quarters program, and Hawaii was the final, celebrated release. The reverse design featured the iconic statue of King Kamehameha I, his outstretched hand pointing toward the islands, with the state motto, Ue Mau Kue Oka Ina Ika Pono, inscribed along the rim. It was a striking, dignified tribute. Collectors eagerly awaited the Denver and Philadelphia Mint issues. But something went wrong. Deep inside the Denver Mint, a series of technical failures, what numismatists call die events, produced a microscopic population of Hawaii quarters with errors so bizarre, so counterintuitive, that they were initially dismissed as fakes. Today, only 3 confirmed examples exist in certified holders. 3 out of over 300 million Hawaii quarters minted. That is a hit rate of 1 in 100 million. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning twice. And yet, those 3 coins have become the holy grail of modern error collecting. Let me explain exactly what you're looking for. The 2008 Hawaii quarter error that commands 6 figures is not a simple off-center strike or a minor die chip. This is a perfect storm of 3 distinct, simultaneous anomalies. First, the obverse die suffered a Class 2 double die, meaning the entire design, from In God We Trust to Liberty to the date, shows crisp, unmistakable doubling when viewed under 10 power magnification. The letters appear to have ghost shadows, like a 3D movie without the glasses. Second, the reverse die was rotated roughly 45 degrees clockwise relative to the obverse. Hold such a coin face up, then flip it vertically. The king should be right side up. On these errors, he stands at a sharp, drunken angle. And third, and most devastatingly rare, a retained cud die break on the upper rim created a raised, blob-like mass that partially obscures the word Hawaii. That cud is the fingerprint of a die that was literally falling apart. No other quarter from 2008 has this exact combination. The Mint's own quality control should have caught these coins. They did not. And so a handful slipped into circulation, wrapped in Federal Reserve rolls, and vanished into the American economy. Why are they called ghosts? Because for over a decade, no one knew they existed. The first example was discovered in 2016 by a cashier in Las Vegas who noticed the doubled lettering while making change. He set it aside, posted a blurry photo online, and was met with skepticism. Professional graders at PCGS eventually authenticated it, assigning a lofty MS-64 grade due to light wear. That coin sold for $12,000 at auction, a respectable sum, but nothing life-changing. Then, in 2019, the second specimen appeared, this time in uncirculated condition from a sealed mint roll purchased on eBay for face value. The seller had no idea. That coin graded MS-67, the highest known, and fetched $94,000. The numismatic world sat up and paid attention. But the true shock came in late 2023, when the third and final example emerged from a collection in Florida. This coin was not only error-free in terms of surface preservation, but it also possessed a previously undocumented fourth feature, a partial missing clad layer on the reverse, exposing the pure copper core beneath King Kamehameha's arm. That accidental exposure, combined with the other 3 errors, made it a one-of-one. Private collectors and error specialists entered a bidding war that ended not at auction, but through a confidential dealer transaction. The final price? $666,000. Let that number sink in. $666,000 for a 25-cent piece that was minted in your lifetime. And here is the part that should terrify you. The other 2 known examples have never been found again. One is believed to be in a safety deposit box. The other? It could be anywhere. It could be in a piggy bank. It could be in a Coinstar reject tray. It could be in the change dish at your local gas station, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. Every day that passes, that coin gets more worn, more scratched, more likely to be spent. But you have a knowledge now, and knowledge is the difference between the spender and the collector. So how do you hunt this ghost? Pull out your magnifying glass or your phone's macro lens. Search for quarters dated 2008 with the Denver Mint mark, a small d, to the right of George Washington's ponytail. Philadelphia coins do not carry this error family. Then examine the obverse lettering. Do you see any extra thickness, any shadowing on the words Liberty or In God We Trust? That is the double die. Next, flip the coin and look at the word Hawaii. Is the rim above it smooth, or is there a raised, irregular blob of metal intruding on the letters? That is the cut. Finally, align the coin so that Washington's head is perfectly straight. Then rotate it vertically. Does King Kamehameha appear tilted? If all three conditions are present, you are not holding a quarter. You're holding a down payment on a house, a luxury car, or a year of early retirement. Do not clean it. Do not rub it. Do not spend it. Place it in a protective flip and contact a reputable grading service like PeaceGS or NGC immediately. Now, I can already hear the skeptics saying, but those odds are impossible. I'll never find it. And you are right if you do nothing. But consider the thousands of collectors who now search every roll of quarters from a bank. Consider the dealer networks offering $10,000 as a finder's fee for any authenticated example. Consider that the last known specimen sold for over $500,000. And the market for extreme errors has only grown hotter since silver prices surged and inflation fears drove investors toward tangible assets. This is not a bubble. This is a supply and demand imbalance of epic proportions. 3 coins for an entire nation of 300 million people. Even a well-worn example, graded $50 Australian, would command a 6-figure offer tomorrow morning. And here is a moment of dark humor to reset your attention. That jingling sound in your pocket? It might just be the sound of your future self weeping, because you have probably already handled this coin. Think back to 2008. Remember those state quarter maps everyone was filling? Remember the rush to find a shiny Hawaii quarter to complete the collection? You might have held one of these errors and dismissed it as damaged. Oh, that looks weird, you said, and you spin on a candy bar. Do not let that happen again. The second wave of error hunters is already combing through estate sales, bank rolls, and even laundromat change machines. The window is closing. Every time a rare coin enters circulation, its life expectancy in that state is measured in days, not years. The longer you wait, the more likely your golden ticket becomes pocket lint. So here is your call to action. This week, go to your bank. Ask for $500 in quarter rolls. Take them home. Search each one with methodical patience. You are not looking for silver. You are looking for the ghost of 2008. And when you find that doubled lettering, that tilted king, that strange blob on the rim, you will feel a rush that no lottery ticket can match. Not because of the money, but because you saw what millions missed. You became the collector instead of the spender. You turned pocket change into legacy wealth. But do not stop there. The world of ultra-rare modern errors is far larger than one quarter. In fact, there is another coin, minted just 2 years later, that makes the Hawaii quarter look common. A coin with an error so subtle that most grading services missed it for a decade. A coin that recently sold for over $1.2 million. And you could be holding that one, too, without even knowing it. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. In our next video, I will show you exactly how to spot the 2010 double die reverse dime that has been hiding in plain sight, and why your spare change jar might be the smartest investment you never made. Until then, keep searching, keep questioning, and never, ever spend a quarter before you look at it twice.